Once silence enters between two people, something begins to speak that words cannot carry. Often in life, we think that connection is built only through communication, through constant messages, through words repeated again and again. But silence too has its own voice. It carries weight, it carries presence. And when you stop contacting someone, this silence is not emptiness, but a form of communication that goes deeper than ordinary speech. Consider this. In the monastery, when students train together, sometimes the teacher does not respond immediately to their questions. Sometimes the answer is given in silence. At first, the student becomes restless, confused, unsure of what is happening. But soon the mind settles and clarity arises. The student begins to see not through the teacher's words, but through their own awareness. In relationships, silence works in a similar way. When you step back, when you no longer reach out, the man begins to see not what you say, but what your absence reflects back to him. Silence becomes a mirror. A mirror shows you what is there without judgment. When you stop contacting him, he will see his own actions more clearly. Did he take you for granted? Did he become lazy in his effort? Did he assume you would always be there, always reaching out first? In the mirror of silence, these patterns are revealed. You no longer need to point them out. Your absence becomes the teaching. Think about how water reflects the moon. The moon does not try to explain itself. It simply shines, and the water shows the reflection. Silence is like that still water. Your presence is the moon. When you step back, when you no longer create ripples by words or actions, suddenly the reflection becomes clear. He sees himself. He sees you, and he sees the distance that has grown. This is why silence is not weakness. It is not avoidance. It is not running away. It is a practice of mindfulness. It is the choice to allow space. When you practice this, you are training yourself not to react out of habit. You are choosing clarity over noise. Ask yourself, how many times in life have you spoken too soon, explained too much, filled the space with words that later felt unnecessary? Silence gives you the chance to stop this cycle. It gives the other person the chance to feel the weight of your absence and the presence of their own responsibility. In practical life, this can be as simple as choosing not to send the first message. It can be as simple as giving yourself one day of silence before responding. It can be as simple as allowing a conversation to rest instead of pushing it forward. These are small steps, but they hold great power, because every time you do this, you remind yourself that your worth does not depend on constant chasing. You remind yourself that relationships are a balance of giving and receiving. Now consider another truth. Attention is like water. It flows toward where there is openness. If you block it, it moves elsewhere. If you leave a space, water fills it. When you stop contacting a man, you create such a space. His attention begins to move. At first, it may flow outward, distracted by other things. But soon, he begins to feel the emptiness. Where your presence used to be, there is now quiet. The water of his mind begins to flow back toward you. This is the natural way of energy. When you are always the one reaching out, you create a current that pulls him into comfort. He no longer needs to move. He simply receives. But when you stop, the current changes. The flow reverses. Now he must decide whether to move toward you or to let the emptiness remain. Think of a garden. If you water one plant every day, it will grow. But if you stop watering, the plant must rely on its own roots to survive. Some plants will wither, others will dig deeper into the soil to find their own strength. In the same way, when you stop contacting him, he must find within himself the desire to step forward. Some men will wither away because their interest was shallow. Others will deepen their effort because they value the connection. In martial arts, there is a principle: when your opponent pulls, you do not resist. you yield. And when you yield, their own force causes them to lose balance. Life is similar. By withdrawing, by no longer chasing, you do not lose strength. You allow his own energy to reveal itself. Will he step into the empty space with intention, or will he fall away because there was no real balance to begin with? Ask yourself in your own life, how often have you tried to keep the river flowing by pushing the water with your hands? It is exhausting. It is impossible. The river already flows on its own. Relationships too cannot be forced by constant effort from one side. There must be natural movement. By creating emptiness through silence, you allow that natural movement to appear. And in this way, absence creates presence. Only in absence can true presence be felt. This is a paradox, but one you already know from experience. When someone you love is nearby every day, you may forget their presence. It becomes normal, almost invisible. But when they are gone, even for a short while, you feel the depth of their importance. Their presence becomes larger in their absence. When you stop contacting him, he begins to sense your presence in a new way. He notices the absence of your messages. He notices the emptiness of his day without your words. He notices the space where once there was connection. And in this noticing, the presence of you grows stronger than when you are always available. It is like incense in a room. When it burns, you smell it faintly, almost without awareness. But when it stops burning, when only the memory of the scent remains, suddenly you realize how sweet it was. The absence brings awareness of the presence. This is why stepping back is not about punishment. It is not about playing games. It is about creating balance. It is about allowing awareness to rise. Many people fear that if they stop contacting someone, they will be forgotten. But the opposite is true. When your energy has been real, when your presence has carried meaning, absence makes that presence even more visible. But there is also another side. Sometimes, when you stop contacting, you will discover that he does not notice, he does not return, he does not step forward. This too is a gift, because absence reveals truth. If someone cannot feel your presence when you are gone, it means they never truly valued it when you were there. This can be painful, but it also brings freedom. Freedom from illusion, freedom from wasted energy, freedom from giving endlessly without being received. So reflect on this silence is not only a message to him, it is also a lesson for you. It teaches you patience. It teaches you detachment. It teaches you to see clearly who truly values your presence. In daily life, try this simple practice. When you feel the urge to reach out, pause. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, am I reaching out from peace or from fear of losing connection? If it is from fear, allow silence instead. This silence is not neglect. It is respect for yourself, for him, and for the truth of the relationship. In this way, silence, attention, and absence all work together. They reveal, they reflect, they create movement without force. They awaken presence through emptiness, and they give you back your own energy, so you are no longer dependent on another for your sense of worth. Notice in your own relationships, where have you spoken too much, given too much, filled too much space? Where might silence be the wiser teacher? Where might absence speak louder than presence? The path of wisdom is not about doing more. It is about knowing when less becomes more powerful. When you stop contacting a man, you step into this path. You allow silence to mirror truth. You allow attention to shift naturally. You allow absence to reveal presence. And in this, both you and he are given the chance to grow. When you step back from someone, something very subtle is revealed. The effort that once seemed invisible suddenly comes into full view. As long as you are the one who keeps reaching out, who holds the rope of connection tightly in your hands, you cannot see clearly how much the other person is truly holding it. But when you let go, When you stop pulling, then the balance of effort is shown. Either the rope falls, or he begins to pull as well. This is the weight of effort. It is the point where words stop and action is tested. In every relationship, there must be movement from both sides. If you are always the one giving, always the one reaching out, the scales tip too far. But when you choose silence, when you choose to pause, you can see clearly what the other person is willing to carry. Will he move forward? Will he meet you in the middle? Or will he leave the balance unfulfilled? Think of two people carrying a heavy log together. When both lift, the burden is shared and the path forward is steady. But if one person carries all the weight while the other barely touches, fatigue will come. The stronger one will tire, the weaker one will never grow. Only when both commit their effort is the load balanced. Relationships are like this. When you stop contacting, you are no longer carrying his share. You give him the chance to reveal if he will pick it up himself. Sometimes he will surprise you. You may see him step forward with strength you never knew he had. Other times you will see him walk away, unable to carry even his own weight. Both outcomes are truths. Both outcomes are necessary for your clarity. When you stop caring for him, you stop living in illusion. Consider this in your own life. Where are you over-carrying? Where are you holding responsibility that should be shared? Where are you exhausting yourself by doing both your part and his? Reflect carefully, because fatigue often hides the truth of imbalance. This leads us to the balance of yin and yang. In nature, nothing thrives when the flow is only one-sided. Day balances night. Inhale balances exhale. Effort balances rest. When one dominates the other, disharmony arises. In relationships, the same principle applies. When one person gives without receiving, yin and yang fall out of alignment. If you are always the one sending messages, planning meetings, creating moments, then you become the sun that never sets. Too much light without night blinds the eyes. Too much giving without receiving blinds the heart. By stepping back, by choosing stillness, you restore balance. You allow night to return so the day may be appreciated. You allow space so his energy may rise to meet yours. Imagine the practice of breathing. If you only inhale, the lungs will burst. If you only exhale, the body will collapse. It is the rhythm of both that sustains life. In the same way, giving and receiving must breathe together. If you stop contacting him, you are allowing the exhale. You are restoring the natural rhythm. If he does not inhale in return, then the rhythm is broken, and life cannot flow between you. Harmony is not created by force. It emerges when balance is respected. In martial arts, balance is everything. If you lean too far forward, you are vulnerable. If you lean too far back, you lose ground. The center is where strength is found. By stepping back in silence, you are reclaiming your center. You are showing the natural order. If there is to be harmony, it must come from both. Ask yourself, do you live in balance? Or do you constantly lean into others, giving more than is received? Do you know the rhythm of give and take? Or do you exhaust yourself in endless exhale? This awareness is the beginning of harmony, and from this balance arises clarity of mind. When you remove words, when you stop reaching out, you allow what is hidden to come forward. Silence is not just absence of sound, it is the unveiling of intention. Words can mask the truth. A man may speak of care, may promise attention, may say all the right things. But when the words stop, what does he do? What action remains? This is where intention is revealed. Think of a candle. In daylight, its flame is small and almost invisible. But in darkness, the flame becomes clear, and you can see whether it truly burns. Your silence creates such a darkness. It removes the distraction of your constant presence, and his flame, or the lack of it, is revealed. Many people fear silence because they fear what it will uncover. They fear finding out that the other does not care or that the other's effort is shallow. But truth is always a gift. If intention is weak, better to know. If intention is strong, silence will only make it shine brighter. Either way, silence is the test that unveils reality. In training, when a student claims discipline, the teacher does not look at his words. The teacher watches what he does when nobody is reminding him. Does he still practice when no one is watching? Does he still rise early when there is no encouragement? This is the unveiling of intention. In relationships, it is the same. If his care is genuine, he will act even without your reminder. If it is not, silence will reveal the emptiness of his words. So ask yourself, are you afraid of seeing his true intentions? Or are you ready for clarity, no matter what form it takes? The heart may resist, but the spirit always benefits from truth. In your daily life, practice this unveiling gently. When you feel uncertain about someone's care, allow yourself to step back. Do not announce it, do not explain. Simply allow the silence. Observe what comes forward. Does he reach out after days of quiet? Does he create effort when you do not? Or does he disappear into the comfort of your absence? Do not judge too quickly. Simply watch. The unveiling will happen naturally. These three teachings are woven together. The weight of effort shows balance. The balance of yin and yang restores harmony, and the unveiling of intention brings truth. Together, they teach you not to fear silence, but to use it as a tool. They remind you that love cannot be forced by words, and respect cannot be demanded by endless giving. They show you that when you stop contacting a man, you are not losing power, you are reclaiming it. You are creating space where truth, balance, and effort reveal themselves. Notice in your own heart the places where silence might bring clarity. Notice the spaces where too much effort has been given, where balance has been lost, where intentions are still hidden beneath words. Then consider the courage of choosing stillness, of allowing space, of trusting that what is real will always remain when the noise has stopped. When you no longer chase after someone, you discover something powerful within yourself. The grip of attachment begins to loosen. It is easy to mistake constant reaching out as love, when often it is only fear. Fear of being forgotten, fear of being replaced, fear of emptiness. But when you stop contacting him, you begin to see that your value is not tied to his reply. You begin to understand that peace does not depend on another person's attention. This is the lesson of detachment. In the monastery, young students often cling to the presence of their teacher. They want guidance at every step, answers for every question. But a wise teacher will sometimes leave them to practice alone. At first, the students feel abandoned. They doubt their strength, yet slowly they realize that the teachings are already within them. By being left alone, they discover their own independence. In relationships, this is the same. When you stop contacting, you are giving yourself the chance to grow strong in solitude. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means that your well-being is not chained to the response of another. It is the freedom to care deeply without losing yourself. When you detach, you do not cling, you do not beg, you do not force. You simply allow what is real to flow naturally. And in this freedom, love can breathe again. Ask yourself, am I reaching out because I truly want to share, or because I fear being left behind? The answer reveals whether you are acting from love or from fear. If it is fear, let silence be your practice. In silence, the roots of your own strength deepen. And when you step back, something else happens. Your value begins to echo. As long as you are always there, always reaching, he may forget the weight of your presence. But when you stop, the emptiness speaks. It reminds him of what he had, of what he may lose, of what cannot be replaced. Imagine a bell ringing in a quiet valley. The sound fades, but the echo lingers long after the strike. Your silence works in the same way. The moments you shared, the care you gave, the warmth of your presence, all of these begin to echo when you are no longer the one making noise. If your presence was real, he will feel its absence as surely as an echo filling the air. But there is wisdom here too. Sometimes the echo reveals nothing because there was nothing solid behind it. If your giving was never valued, the silence will reveal the truth. He may not notice, or he may continue without awareness. That too is an answer. Your worth does not vanish because he failed to hear the echo. It only shows that he was never truly listening. Consider this. When was the last time you realized the value of someone only after they stopped being present? Perhaps it was a parent, a friend, a partner. Often when they were near, their value felt ordinary. But once absent, the memory of their kindness grew louder. This is the echo of value. By stepping back, you give space for this realization to awaken in him. And silence itself is never empty. It creates ripples. Every action has a reaction. Every cause brings forth an effect. Choosing to stop contacting is not a passive gesture. It is an active step, a deliberate act of self-respect. This act sets ripples in motion. Think of throwing a stone into a still pond. The ripples spread outward, touching every part of the water. Silence works like this. It may seem like doing nothing, but in reality, it carries great force. Your choice not to act becomes the cause, and his response becomes the effect. Will he step forward into the silence? Will he allow the distance to widen? His choice is revealed by the ripples of your non-action. In daily life, we often underestimate the power of not doing. We believe movement is always necessary, that progress only comes from pushing forward. But the Tao teaches that non-action can be the highest form of action. By not chasing, by not reaching, you are already shifting the energy. You are creating change without force. Ask yourself, what ripples am I creating through silence? What truths are being revealed by my choice not to speak, not to reach out, not to carry the whole weight alone? These are questions worth sitting with. Detachment frees you. The echo of your value reminds him, and the ripple of your silence sets truth into motion. Together, they form a path of wisdom that leads you back to yourself while showing clearly where he stands. When you decide to step back and stop reaching out, something subtle yet powerful happens. You hold up a mirror without words. This mirror reflects not only him, but also yourself. It shows what kind of respect truly exists between you. Respect is not something you can demand with noise. It is not something that grows from explaining yourself again and again. Respect comes from presence, from boundaries, from the quiet strength of knowing who you are and what you deserve. When you no longer chase him, you reveal a standard. You show how you expect to be treated. If he notices and responds with care, then respect begins to flow in balance. If he ignores it, if he takes your silence as weakness, then he reveals the lack of respect that was already there. Either way, the mirror does not lie. Imagine standing before still water. The reflection you see depends on the clarity of the water itself. If the surface is disturbed, the image is broken. But when the water is calm, it shows you exactly what is there. In the same way, silence becomes calm water. His reflection appears. Your own dignity becomes visible. You see whether he values the connection or only the convenience. And he sees, perhaps for the first time, that your worth is not tied to endless effort. This is why silence requires courage. It is easier to fill the space with words, to keep explaining, to keep asking. But when you choose not to, you trust the mirror. You trust that respect will either be present or absent, and that both answers are necessary for your growth. Ask yourself, do I continue speaking because I fear the answer silence may reveal? Or am I willing to see clearly, even if the truth is not what I hoped. When you allow space, time itself becomes a teacher. In the moment, we often want answers immediately. We want to know now if someone cares, now if someone values us, now if they will step forward. But wisdom grows slowly, like a tree. Time reveals patterns that words cannot. If you stop contacting him for a while, time will show whether he truly feels your absence. Maybe not in the first hour, maybe not in the first day, but as time stretches, the weight of your silence grows. For some, it awakens awareness. For others, it awakens nothing. Both truths require patience. Think of planting seeds. You do not see growth the next morning. You wait, you water, you allow the sun to do its work. In silence, you are planting the seed of truth. Over time, it reveals itself. Either a sprout appears or the soil remains bare. Both are answers, but only patience allows you to see them clearly. In training, patience is one of the hardest lessons. Students want strength quickly, mastery without delay. But the body resists, the mind resists. Only through time does discipline become natural. Relationships, too, require this patience. If you rush, you cannot see the truth. If you wait, clarity comes. Ask yourself, am I willing to let time teach me, even if the answer is not what I want? Can I allow the days of silence to unfold without panic, trusting that what is real will endure? This is not easy, but it is freedom. Time takes away illusions if you let it. And while you wait, something else happens. The energy you once gave outward begins to return home. Every message you did not send, every effort you did not make becomes energy kept within. At first, this feels like emptiness, as though something is missing. But slowly, you notice a quiet strength growing inside you. You feel less restless, less dependent, less scattered. Imagine a river that has been flowing endlessly outward, draining into distant fields. If you block the path for a while, the river begins to fill its own banks again. The land nearby becomes nourished. Your silence works the same way. The energy you once poured into him now returns to you. With it comes clarity, balance, and renewal. This returning energy is not selfishness, it is self-respect. If you are always pouring outward, eventually you are left dry. Only when you allow the current to return do you regain vitality. Then, if the connection continues, you can give again, but from abundance, not from emptiness. In daily life, notice how this works. When you resist the urge to send that extra message, you gain back a little peace. When you choose not to explain yourself endlessly, you gain back a little strength. When you sit with silence instead of filling it, you gain back a little clarity. Over time, these small pieces gather and you feel whole again. Ask yourself, how often do I give away my energy without noticing? How many times have I drained myself by pouring into someone who does not pour back? What would it feel like to allow that energy to stay with me, to grow within me, to make me strong? Respect reflected in silence, time revealing truth, energy returning home. These are not separate lessons. They are one movement. When you stop contacting him, you set all three in motion. The mirror of silence shows the truth of respect. Time stretches the truth until it can no longer be denied. And the energy you once scattered outward begins to fill you again, teaching you that your value was never lost. This is why silence, though difficult, is a profound practice. It brings clarity to the heart, strength to the mind, and balance to the spirit. It teaches you to stand in dignity, to wait with patience, to reclaim what is yours. And it shows clearly who is willing to step forward and who was only present when you carried the weight for both. There is a strength greater than speaking. It is the strength of holding your center when everything in you wants to react. When someone does not respond as you hoped, when silence from the other side grows heavier, the natural impulse is to reach, to question, to demand an answer. But in those moments, True mastery lies in non-reaction. Choosing not to react is not weakness, it is discipline. It is the power to remain steady instead of being pulled by impulse. In the practice hall, when a student is struck by surprise, the instinct is to flinch, to move wildly, to resist. But the master teaches him to breathe first. Breathe, stay grounded, feel the strike, and only then respond with clarity. Life is the same. When you are struck by the silence of someone you care for, you may want to reach out again and again. But if you breathe instead, if you allow stillness, you discover that your peace does not depend on his action. You remain grounded. Consider this in your own relationships. How often have you said words you later regretted because you reacted too quickly? How often have you sent messages that brought you no peace, only more confusion? Each of those moments could have been transformed with one breath, with one pause, with the choice of non-reaction. This is why silence is not emptiness. It is strength disguised. Ask yourself, do I move because I truly wish to, or because I cannot bear the discomfort of stillness? If it is discomfort driving you, then non-reaction is your practice. Sit with it. Let it pass. Just as clouds drift from the sky when the wind is patient, so too do impulses dissolve when you do not feed them. And when you hold this discipline, you give him something very important, the awakening of choice. If you are always the one reaching out, always the one chasing, then he never faces the crossroads. He lives in ease, knowing you will close the gap. But when you stop, when you stay still, suddenly the road opens before him. He must decide his step forward or let the distance grow. Your silence awakens his freedom to choose. This is not about manipulation. It is about truth. Only in silence can his true will appear. Words can be spoken without depth. Promises can be made without intention. But when he stands before the crossroads of your absence, his choice cannot be faked. If he moves toward you, it is real. If he turns away, it is real. Both outcomes are honest, and honesty is what you need. Think of standing at a fork in the road. As long as someone else pulls you by the hand, you do not notice the path you are on. But if they release you, suddenly you must choose for yourself. That choice reveals your direction. In relationships, silence works in this way. By not contacting him, you release his hand. You allow him to decide where he truly wishes to go. Ask yourself, am I giving him room to choose? Or am I filling the silence so much that he never has to decide? Am I afraid of the answer his choice might reveal? To love honestly is to allow freedom. Without freedom, love becomes dependency. With freedom, love becomes truth. And in this stillness, you discover something else, the path of clarity that arises only from quiet. When noise is removed, when words are not exchanged, the mind begins to settle. Thoughts that once ran in circles now slow down. Feelings that once surged wildly now become calm. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is space for truth to surface. In meditation, this is the foundation. A student sits in silence. At first, the mind shouts, restless, full of questions and distractions. But as the minutes pass, as the breath deepens, the noise softens. Suddenly, clarity arises. What seemed confusing becomes simple. What felt overwhelming becomes light. In relationships, this stillness works the same. When you stop contacting him, you step into silence. And within that silence, clarity about yourself and about him begins to emerge. Perhaps you realize that you were chasing out of fear. Perhaps you see that his care has never matched your effort. Or perhaps you notice that he truly does care, but only when given the chance to act freely. None of this can be seen clearly in the noise of constant communication. It is seen only in stillness. Imagine a muddy river. When the water is stirred, you cannot see the bottom. But when you let it rest, when you stop stirring, the mud sinks and the water becomes clear. Your silence is this resting. Your stillness is this clarity. Only then do you see what lies at the bottom, truth that was hidden all along. This is why non-reaction, choice, and stillness belong together. When you choose not to react, you allow him the space to choose. And in that space, stillness reveals clarity. These are not punishments, not games, not tactics. They are practices of wisdom. They protect your peace, they reveal his truth, and they return balance to the relationship. Consider your own life. Where have you been pulled into reaction, only to regret later? Where have you carried the weight of choice for another, never allowing them the freedom to step forward? Where has noise clouded your clarity, leaving you restless and uncertain? Each of these is a sign that silence could be your teacher. The path is not easy. To stay silent when you want to speak, to hold steady when you want to move, to wait when you want answers. These are challenges of discipline. But within them lies freedom. Freedom from impulse. Freedom from illusion. Freedom from carrying what is not yours to carry. Take a simple practice into your daily life. When you feel the urge to reach out, pause. Place one hand on your breath. Ask yourself, am I about to react, or am I about to act with clarity? If it is reaction, allow silence instead. If it is clarity, then let the action arise naturally. This practice may feel small, but it trains the mind toward mastery. When you hold your center, you become like a mountain. Winds may blow, storms may rage, but the mountain does not run after them. It remains. In this remaining, everything around it finds its place. Be like the mountain in your silence. Let his choice arise as it must. Let clarity reveal itself in the stillness. This is the way of wisdom. When a person begins to realize their worth, everything about the way they show up in relationships changes. It is no longer about trying to prove themselves to someone else, no longer about bending, shrinking, or stretching beyond recognition just to fit into a space that was never meant for them. Worth is not something another person grants you. It is something you awaken to within yourself. And when you live with this awareness, you begin to see clearly who values you and who only benefits from your presence without ever appreciating it. Too often, people stay in places where they are tolerated instead of celebrated. They think love requires endurance, as if their constant giving and forgiving will eventually be rewarded with acknowledgement. But here is the truth. Someone who does not value you will not suddenly wake up one morning and realize your worth simply because you stayed long enough. If anything, staying in such spaces teaches them that your boundaries are flexible, that your love is available without effort. This is why recognizing your own worth is essential. It sets the standard for how others treat you. When you stop contacting him, what you are really doing is stepping back into your own value. You are saying, I am not here to chase. I am not here to beg for attention. I am not here to convince anyone of my importance. That energy is powerful because it redirects the focus inward. Suddenly, the energy once spent worrying about his silence becomes energy invested in your own growth, your own peace, your own joy. And paradoxically, it is often in this shift that the other person begins to feel your absence in a profound way. They sense the change in energy. They realize they are no longer the center of your world. And sometimes, that is the moment they finally recognize what they had all along. Think of it like a candle in a dark room. As long as the candle burns, everyone in the room benefits from its light, often without thinking twice about the flame itself. But when the flame is extinguished, when the room falls into darkness, suddenly everyone realizes the value of what was lost. Your presence, your kindness, your patience, your effort. These are the flame. If someone has been taking them for granted, your silence becomes the moment they notice the darkness. Yet the deeper lesson is not about whether he recognizes it or not. The deeper lesson is about you not waiting for his recognition to define your worth. True confidence is when you know your value, even if no one else affirms it. It is when you walk away from what diminishes you without fear of being alone. It is when you no longer accept crumbs because you know you are worthy of the feast. That shift transforms everything. Alongside this, silence teaches balance. Balance is the art of giving and receiving equally. In too many relationships, the scales tip heavily to one side. One person becomes the constant giver, the one initiating conversations, making plans, offering support, while the other leans back, enjoying the comfort of never having to match the effort. Over time, this imbalance erodes respect. The giver grows tired, drained, and resentful. The receiver grows complacent, unmotivated, and careless. Without balance, even the strongest connection weakens. When you stop reaching out, you are not being cruel. You are inviting balance back into the connection. You are saying, if this relationship matters, let effort flow both ways. If he values the bond, he will step forward. He will call. He will show up. He will take responsibility for his part. If he does not, then his absence is the answer you needed to see. In either case, balance is restored because you are no longer carrying both sides of the relationship on your shoulders. This is the law of harmony found in every part of nature. The sun gives light and the earth responds with life. The tree offers oxygen and we return carbon dioxide. The tide rises and then it falls. Everything in nature exists in cycles of giving and receiving. When the cycle is broken, the system suffers. Human connections are no different. A relationship where one gives endlessly without receiving in return is like a tree giving oxygen into a vacuum. It cannot survive. By holding silence, you stop over-giving and you allow the natural balance to reveal itself. Notice how it feels inside you when balance is missing. You feel anxious, uncertain, always wondering if you matter as much to them as they matter to you. You begin to overthink every silence, every delay, every half-hearted response. But when balance is present, you feel calm. You don't need constant reassurance because effort flows naturally in both directions. Silence is not a punishment, it is a mirror showing whether balance exists. And perhaps the greatest gift that comes from this practice is self-discovery. When you are not constantly entangled in reaching out, waiting for replies, or managing another person's emotional distance, you suddenly find yourself with space, space to think, space to feel, space to remember who you are outside of the relationship. That space is where self-discovery blooms. So many people lose themselves because they pour all their energy into someone else. Their identity becomes wrapped around the role they play in the other person's life, the supporter, the giver, the patient one, the forgiver. But silence is a return to the self. It is like standing before a mirror and finally seeing your own reflection clearly, without distortion. You begin to ask yourself deeper questions. What do I truly want? What do I deserve? What brings me peace? What kind of love am I willing to accept? And what kind will I no longer tolerate? This self-discovery is not selfish. It is necessary, because unless you know yourself, you cannot truly know what kind of relationship serves you. Without self-discovery, you risk falling into patterns, repeating the same mistakes, attracting the same kind of imbalanced connections. But when you step into silence, when you stop chasing, when you listen inwardly, you gain wisdom about yourself, and that wisdom becomes your guide for all future choices. Think of a garden overrun with weeds. If you never pause, never step back, you may not even notice how much space the weeds have taken. But when you stop, when you stand still and look, you see clearly the flowers you planted are being suffocated. Silence is that pause. It allows you to see which parts of your life are being choked by weeds and which parts need more nurturing. It allows you to clear space for your true self to grow again. And here lies a powerful paradox. When you discover yourself, you no longer fear losing someone else. You realize that your wholeness does not depend on their presence. You realize that you are enough with or without them. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you can love freely without desperation because your foundation is already whole. That is why silence, balance, and self-discovery are intertwined. By practicing silence, you invite balance. By restoring balance, you create space for self-discovery. By discovering yourself, you strengthen your silence. Each one feeds the other, creating a cycle of growth and strength. Ask yourself, where in your life have you forgotten your worth? Where have you allowed imbalance to drain your spirit? Where have you neglected your own discovery because you were too consumed with someone else's silence? These questions are not meant to bring regret, but to awaken clarity. The moment you see, the moment you become aware, is the moment transformation begins. So let silence be your teacher. Let it remind you of your value. Let it test the balance of your relationships. Let it lead you back to yourself. And when you stand in that place, rooted, clear, whole, you no longer chase, you no longer beg, you no longer fear. You simply live in the power of your own being. And from that place, the relationships that are meant for you will flourish naturally, balanced, and true. When you step back from constant reaching, you begin to see truth more clearly. The silence you hold is not emptiness. It is presence. It reveals who values you, who is willing to meet you halfway, and who only stayed because you carried the weight. In the stillness, you rediscover yourself. You remember your worth, you restore balance, and you create space for authentic connection to grow. Every relationship is a reflection of energy. When you stop chasing, you allow that reflection to become honest. If he values you, he will come forward. If he does not, then the distance only protects your spirit from further harm. Either way, you remain whole. This is the essence of wisdom in love: to care deeply without losing yourself, to give without clinging, and to walk away when your peace demands it. In this clarity, love is no longer fear, it is freedom.